Welcome back to the channel, everybody. How you doing? I just want to say I appreciate you guys being here. Today we are going to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen. I finally finished JJK, and I just want to talk about it for a few moments, just give you my thoughts and my opinions on the manga in general. I know the anime is not completely finished yet. I want to just talk about the manga. I decided I'm going to finish it this year, and I was like, I want to get my thoughts out on this. Now, my honest rating, like overall rating, I'm going to put that out there right now, I gave it about a 4. I think there's parts of JJK I truly did like, but then there was other parts where I'm like, feel like I wish it was just a little slower. Like I wish it was just a tad bit slower paced in some parts. That's like the biggest thing for me is I feel like JJK, and it's like a pro and con thing. And I've said this before, my plenty of other reviews for this is JJK is just straight up, these hands are E for everybody, and that's all it is. Does that mean it's a bad thing? No. Usually your conflict and everything gets done through throwing hands. It's not through just talking, or they learn a lot through just throwing it. It's all just about throwing hands. And does that make fighting really good? Yeah, the fighting scenes are in here are awesome. Even just through the manga, just drawing, the art style, it's really good. But also there's moments where I wish we just kind of slowed down and take a breather. And with that, it never really goes to that. Now, I could be completely wrong. I don't know how long the time is, but it felt like maybe it's been maybe a year total. And maybe this is just because I'm an old head when it comes to anime and manga, that I'm very used to time skips all the time. I'm used to 2 or 3 year time skips constantly in old shonen. So to me, I was expecting JJK to do that, but it's like, boom, right there, we're right to the next one. I just never really expected that. It's something where you truly have to feel like you have to hold on to that steering wheel when you're reading or watching JJK, because everything's just so fast. It feels almost like a TikTok kind of manga. What did he say? And I'm not saying it in a bad way. Like maybe people might think that is like a huge critique, but sometimes I wish there was a breather. Like when I read manga like Vagabond or Vinland Saga or Berserk or even Bleach or even Dragon Ball, they do have moments of breather where it's not constantly just throwing hands. There is moments of just a nice deep breath and then you fight. It's just, I don't know, maybe like I said, I think I'm just more of an old head on anime nowadays, so I'm like, well, that makes more sense. I think the overall story of it is pretty good. I think what lost me the most of Jujutsu Kaisen is the culling game. I loved all of JJK all the way up until the culling game. Maybe I didn't really like it. It felt like a very shonen tournament kind of style, but it did a little bit of a twist, which is perfectly fine. Maybe I get really tired of these kind of tropes in shonen anime is they always have to do a tournament arc. And I really just don't like tournament arcs constantly because you already know what the outcome is for the most part in this. And I felt like this was a tournament arc throughout the whole thing. Now, did I worry that characters were going to get killed or anything? Yes, JJK is not afraid of that, but there is a couple things that really did tick me off on this. And this is a huge spoiler, and I gotta talk about this. Nanami she was supposed to be dead. And I might have just butchered her name, and I can just picture someone's gonna comment and say, wow, that's not how you pronounce her name. Doesn't matter. She gets killed in the Shibuya arc, but then she's actually alive at the end of this arc of the whole entire manga. I'm gonna tell you, I hate that. That made me so mad. When I saw her come back, I was like, oh my gosh, why? And it really bothers me. I'm not the biggest fan of those fake out deaths. Now, if there was something where she was like in critical care and she was like on the side the whole time, sure. But they had like a whole sad moment of her actually getting killed and everything. I was like, dang, bro. Because Shibuya was definitely like the best arc for me. In my opinion, I think it's the best arc of JJK. That was a huge, huge disappointment for me. In the calling game, when we have Yuji fighting Sukuna, that's awesome moments. Those are really good. And I think the fight with Sukuna and Gojo were also really good. And I was very glad with that outcome of Gojo. I was spoiled of what happens to Gojo, that he comes back to life. So I was already kind of upset when I heard that. I was like, oh, great. So he doesn't actually die, but he does, which is really, really cool that he actually does. Now, is that really cool? Yeah, because Gojo is a goat, don't get me wrong, but I'm really happy that his death was actually, he actually is dead. And there is outcomes in this thing where I think Yuji has a really good character arc. He has a really good character arc. And I will say, I was really surprised. They did tease a love interest for him, but they never pursued it. Like, because usually a lot of shonens, you know who the love interest is, and most of the time they don't confess their love until the very end, and you're like, oh wow, they're happily together, you know, all that crap. But this one's like, no, we know who it is, but it's not about that. She can't do anything. So I really like those elements of it. I think that was a really cool thing, and I wanted just to put that in there as well. Now there's things that, again, I do like about JJK. Is it like a top 10 favorite anime or manga for me of all time? No, it's definitely up there. Would I recommend to people? Absolutely. I think JJK is a really fun manga. I think for first time readers, I would recommend this, or first time watchers, I would recommend JJK. It's so fast paced. That's why a lot of people like it. It's just straight up throwing hands, and all the characters are really likable. I do like that. I like the characters. They're all so fun, and they all have their own style. Bleach is one of my all-time favorite animes of all time. It's in my top 10. So when I watch JJK, I realized, wow, there's a lot of resemblance of Bleach through this. And then I realized that the creator of JJK said his biggest inspiration is from Bleach. And that's one thing I always compliment with Bleach. Everyone always talks about the big three, which one's the best. I will always say this, and maybe people are going to disagree with me on this too, but Bleach has style. There's something with it. Bleach's style. And JJK really just peeled those pages, their own style. And I really appreciated that reading it. I just felt so, like, it was just so unique. And you can almost argue that it's like a Gen Zer thing, which is fine as well. But I love the style of it. The way the characters act, how the characters look, they all have their own personality in a way, and it's just a good raw style is the best way to explain it. I know I keep saying style, but it's just a really cool thing to see. There is pros and cons on this. I think the biggest con is the pacing, but it's also like a pro because it's really fast paced. So if you want to really grind through and get through it, I would argue like 50% is just throwing hands. That's just the truth. I would say everything else I really like. I think the ending was fine. It's like a bittersweet kind of ending. It's not like a controversial ending where they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It's not like an Attack on Titan one, even though I liked Attack on Titan's ending. I thought it was fine. But the ending for JJK, a bittersweet one. And I think that's all it really needed to be. It didn't need to be some time skip or anything. What they do the next day, I think it was a really fun thing to see. I did like JJK. Like I said, I gave it a rating of 4 out of 5. I want to get Sukuna tattooed on my hand, but then my fiance was like, no, I don't like hand tattoos, so that's why you don't see a hand tattoo. I really enjoyed this manga. I'm really happy I decided to read it. Next, for my next manga read is going to be Bleach. I'm very excited to read Bleach. I've watched the anime. I'm waiting for part 4 so I can be like, finally! I'm very, very excited to read Bleach, and I can see all the little things that JJK was like, oh, I'm going to take this, I'm going to take this, I'm going to take this. It's very, very, very cool stuff. If you guys made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. Do you agree with what I said about JJK, or do you disagree? What is your pros? What is your cons about JJK? Do you agree with anything I've said? Do you disagree with everything I've said? I'd love to know down below. But in general, though, I really didn't like JJK. I hope you guys liked it too. If you didn't, let me know down below. Do you think it's overrated? Do you think it is the TikTok kind of anime? If it is, let me know down below as well. And of course, make sure you guys stay safe, stay humble, and to someone you love them. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay weird.